All right, so we're finally ready to put a roof on this house. Our trusses are here. We've got them all stacked at the front, so we're gonna have to spend a bit of time moving them all up. For the units, the one I'm in right now is mostly done. There's a few small bits here and there that we do have to finish off, and we are gonna start putting the trusses up in this unit. Next door, we're still waiting for a bit of timber to come. We're still waiting for steel at the front. There's a few bits and pieces that have to be done. I'm gonna start marking out from the back, making our way forward, and it's halfway through the day right now, but I want to get a few trusses up in this unit.
All right, so we have done a bit of work since the last episode. All these walls have been framed, and I was gonna make a video out of that, but it felt too similar to the videos we did framing walls downstairs. If you're interested to see any videos on how to frame walls, I've got plenty of those on my channel. But for now though, we're gonna jump straight into this roof.
All right, so this is a plan. This is a roof we're building. It's actually gonna go this way like that. It's a very straightforward, quite an easy roof to do. It's gonna be a flat roof, and we've just got skilly and trusses running the whole way across. And we can see we've got a box gutter running on the external side of the house. In terms of marking out, it looks pretty straightforward. I'm gonna start from the back here. We're gonna do our first truss 5mm in from the wall frame, just to make sure we got enough room to build a parapet wall there. So the truss spacings are 600mm. I'm gonna start going through, marking them out, and we just need to play around where these skylights go when we get up to them. So we've got 7 HW1Bs, so 7 trusses for the small wall here. We're just gonna jump straight into it. So the first truss is always gonna be in the inside of the wall. I'm gonna mark it there, but as I did say, when we stand the truss up, we want it to be even 10mm across, because the last thing we want is for the truss to slightly go over this wall. We will build that up with a parapet wall, and if that truss goes over it, it means to make this wall work, we're gonna have to cut the edge off every single stud so that the wall isn't pushing out of plumb. So we've got first truss there. It's gonna be quick as if we go 6, 12. I might just throw a nail in there for us to hook over. Always want to make sure these spacings are continuous, meaning that the tape hooks over and we keep marking across, opposed to just doing this for every measurement. So I do 600 there, and if I wasn't holding that exactly in the right place, and then I do the same thing over there, our truss measurements can start to kick back and forth. By the time we get to the front of the house, they can be all over the place. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we did have 7 trusses for this room. 3, 6. Cool. And obviously we want to mark the other side out as well. So that probably took about a minute there, and that's this first little room already marked out to go with trusses. This whole roof should get done so quickly. What I want to do here is just get a measurement, which is 440 to that last truss mark, because obviously the wall kicks out there. I can't hold my tape on that mark when we're out there, so now I know if I butt into the side of that wall, I've got to do my 600 spacing minus that 440 for the next truss. Actually, looking at the plan, ignore that 440. This next truss obviously has to be on the inside of that wall there, to pick up that box gutter running right outside the wall. So I'm gonna get that 440 measurement I got from over there, and I'm gonna chuck it on this side. We're gonna go 445, and what that's gonna do is put this next truss 5mm across to the inside of that wall. Doing the same thing we've done over there, we wanna suck that truss in 5mm so we can build a parapet wall there. And we can't do 600 centers here because we need the truss for that little bit there to hold the corner of that roof where the wall sticks out. And this plan's actually made it super easy for us to do these skylights as well. We've got measurements at the bottom here, which we can follow. Yeah, so they've started that measurement from the outside of that wall. So all I have to do is hook over the outside of that little wall there, measure across 3655, and then that's gonna be where this first skylight truss goes. And then we can see we've got 1165 in between, and it's gonna be for our other skylight truss. Super easy. What I normally do is also check the architecturals to make sure it's in the right place. Where we're looking at, our skylight is gonna be basically right above me here. So it looks like it's gonna be lined up with this little walkway, this hallway through here. So I'm just gonna visually check it with these balls and make sure it's relatively centered when we do frame that one up. The boys have actually just jumped down. They're starting to get the trusses. And since they're getting these ones here, I'm just gonna jump back in here, get a gun set up, and we're just gonna start throwing these trusses up as we go. You can see how easy it is to mark these out. So on a roof like this, I don't mind if we're marking it out as we're pulling the trusses up. One person on a ladder the other side, we can just keep doing 600 centers, throw the truss up, and just smash this roof out. No dramas at all. Yep. Do you want to land this on your side and I'll walk up the ladder with it?
I can pass it up to you, Dave.
Oh, I'm alright with this one. Just, do you want to go over your head to where it needs to go? Yeah. And just make sure that you do nail it in 10 mil from that wall. At least 5-10 mil. How's your length there?
I'm sitting in about 3 mil, I reckon.
Oh, that's sweet. Just let me know if it changes.
Yeah.
Sweet. So since I'm leaning it on the wall there, it's probably going to be pushing the wall out very slightly. So I'm going to shoot my side, and then when we plumb it up, we'll pull your wall in, get your wall right, shoot it off. Hope the stud's pretty straight. Can you give the wall a tap in a mil? Well, I'm happy with that. Shoot that off. Just gonna confirm this side. It should be spot on though. Yeah, that's good. It's so nice playing with some smaller trusses. They're so light, easy to get up. Good there. Alright, so we're actually flying through the trusses right now. I think it's just this pack left. There's 13 here that we're going to pass up. We're going to get all the trusses up, and then once everything's up, I'm going to go through and frame out the skylights. So we'll get these up, then almost all of the units done up there, and then I'll get the GoPro back on and I'll talk you through what we're doing to frame out where the skylights go. It's pretty simple, but we'll jump on it anyway. Alright, so we've got the trusses up in this unit. Obviously, we've just left out, where are they? We've left out the skylights. I did say I'm going to jump on them now and do them, but we just had a delivery of timber, and it's all the timber we need to keep going over here in this unit. So we've got a couple walls to build there, a few walls to build in the front, and we're just going to get this done. I'm not going to film it. It's going to be stuff that I've covered so many times already in this episode. So we're going to jump to this unit, get everything set up here, and then when I jump back over there to do the skylights, I'll continue this video going through the roof and everything else you have to do to finish this roof off.
A to Z. I've had a lot of fun putting this together.
Alright, so we've got most of the trusses up in this unit now. One of the guys actually jumped on, and they've done the skylight trusses in the first unit we started with. So we can see they're framed up there. The other one's framed up there as well. Exactly the same thing in this unit. I'm just going to jump on and start doing these now. Alright, so we can actually see they're marked out quite easily for us. Plan is that way. It's a bit hard to see on the camera, but off the back of that wall, we're coming across 175. Then we have the 35mm gap for the actual truss, and then a 730 opening. So we're going to go 175, 175. I'm actually going to mark the 35 for the truss so we can see this side of it. So that's the inside of the truss there. Inside of the truss. And let's square that up. So this is definitely the easiest part of doing the skylight. I'm going to jam this in here. It is nice and tight. At this stage, we're just going to put the trusses in. And it'll be the lock-up stage where we actually come through and frame this out perfectly for that skylight opening. The trusses should be a bit bigger, and this should give us enough room to frame it up for the actual window to sit on. So we're on. And I'm not going to shoot the tops yet. I want to get a level, make sure we plumb that one up. So that was PGT2 we put in, which goes furthest to the back. That's the larger one. And then this one, it's also PGT2. Here we go. PGT1 is what we need. Just got to make sure I get these the right way around, because this PGT1, this truss here, is going to be a fair bit smaller, as you can see, because this truss here is going to get smaller and smaller the further along we go. So 730 across, this truss should work out pretty good. I think my ladder might be just in the way. We go 730. That's the inside there. And we'll go 730 here. Sweet as. That's good there. Sweet. So that's how we're leaving it for now. I think later in the lockup we will go through at some point and frame this to be a bit smaller. I don't think the skylight's actually that 11.65 wide. So we'll sort that out later. Now though, we'll just put the last few trusses in and fill in this gap. So we've got one here. Just gonna pull this up. Where's that mark? Mark was up there. Nice. This is the last piece we've got to put in. I think this is probably the smallest truss I've ever seen. I don't even know if we can call that a truss. It's just a few blocks nailed together. But this one's just to go on the other side of the skylight. I might actually jump up on the roof to get this one in. And yeah, that's the right way there. And this one's obviously just going here to help hold that outside roofing pattern that runs the whole way through. I'm just gonna shoot straight through this one. And if I can get my gun in here, it's gonna be a little bit awkward. There we go. Easy as. That's the skylight framed out in about 2 seconds. So I'm gonna jump through. Camera didn't die, which is always good. We've got another skylight at the front, or not at the front, about halfway through. I'm going to frame that one up too. And as we can see for now, skylight isn't completely centered with this hallway. That's because the trusses allowed us for an 11.65 opening. I'll double check, I think the skylight might be 900. In the lockup stage, we're going to come through, we're going to frame that skylight up. And when we do that, that's when we're going to really check these walls here and make sure that skylight's centered with this little passage right here. So probably, I'll say lockup stage, we're going to have to do that before the roof goes on.
Alright, so we're turning our attentions onto the parapet walls and the box gutters. To build a box gutter, we've got to go through and build the parapet walls first. So we're going to go through, build this wall the entire way around the house, which is going to firstly hide the roof from street level, and secondly be a wall that we can attach our trimming blocks to for the box gutter. For the box gutter, there's a few different ways that we can build it, depending if there's going to be a sump at the end or if it's just going to be a rain head externally. For this box gutter, it is going to be a rain head, so we don't have to worry about the height. And what I'm going to be doing is trimming these blocks to the side of the truss, and every single truss, they're going to slightly get higher and higher, creating the full for the box gutter. All that a boxy needs is a full of 10mm per meter. And you can see these end ones here, they do get a little bit higher, so we can't just laminate the block to the side of the truss, but instead we're going to pack out the truss and just do a trimming block across.
Hey Oscar,
Yo.
what are the lengths of the valley board? Oh, the 4/8? Can I get one? I'll get one at 4/730.
4/730?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now for the box gutter, it's not going to be made out of the same caliber material that the roof sheet's made out of. The roof sheets are a lot stronger so you can walk across them. The box gutter is just a small, thin tray. So what we have to do is get these lengths of valley board. These are going to sit on the trimming blocks for the box gutter, and they're going to be a permanent, strong base for the box gutter to sit on. This allows for the tray to sit on the valley board, and then obviously if we get any weight from the water coming into the box gutter, it's going to be strong enough to hold that weight as well.
One, two, three, four, five.
What I'm laying out now is a speed brace on top of the trusses, and this acts in a very similar way, pretty much the exact same way as the cross braces that we had on the walls. The truss plan shows us where to put this stuff, and we just lay it in crosses on top of the trusses, nail it off with some clouts, and it's going to be enough to stop that roof from moving side to side.
So we actually just got the timber we need to frame up the openings for the skylight. We were needing 140 by 35 beams though to do it. So that's here now. What I'm going to do is go through, cut all these to size, basically build 4 skylights on the ground, and then jump up on the roof. I'll get someone cutting for me, and there's going to be a little bit involved to get these right. The way I normally do my skylights is that I have double the amount of 140, and I build all 4 sides kind of like this, with the 140 sitting on a 140 beam. This can be used to hold the weight going across the trusses, and that's also used as a batten for the roof sheets. We can't do that because we don't have enough timber, so we're going to have to figure out a different way to do it, and we'll get up to that once I build these skylights on the ground first. Alright, so I've got the 4 skylights framed up. What I'm going to do before we pass them up is just go through with a roof is square. I want to check that they're square. If they're not square, we're going to crank them to be square. And then I'm just going to throw a brace across them, screw it on, just to make sure the skylights remain square when I move them up and get them up onto the roof. Pretty good there. Before I pull these skylights up, I've cut some 90-35 and we're going to screw them to the bottom like that. So that once the skylight's done, it's going to be looking like that, and this 35 here can act as a batten for the roofers to screw to. What it also does is it gives us a base at the bottom of the skylight for this to sit on the truss, and we can also screw through this 90-35 into the truss. Typically, I normally use 140-35 as well, so we've got that extra width. It's just a bit easier to screw to. We didn't have that on site, so we're going to have to use a 90-35, and I've actually already gone through. Centered where the skylights are going to go, and put extra timbers in there, which is going to help hold up that skylight. Alright, sweet. So now this is the easy part. We've got the skylights framed up, we're up on the roof. What I've done when I was downstairs is I've found the middle of the opening and done a center mark. What I'm also going to do, measure across the skylight. The inside is 572, so half of that will be 286. Gonna mark that, double check that measurement was right, we're all good. I'm going to square this down, and I'm going to line that mark up with the center line of the frame opening, which is right there. So I've lined that one up. We're going to do exactly the same on this side. And I didn't film it, but that center mark there, I got that by finding the center of that hallway downstairs, and the center mark I've got on this side here is a center of this hallway through here. This is a most important one. You're going to be walking through the hallway, and once the skylight's framed up, you're going to see the gap of plaster on either side of the skylight. So if it's out by 5mm one way, you're more than likely going to be able to see it. So we're going to make sure this is perfect. This is my 286 there. Square that, we'll go a bit further down than that. So I'm looking pretty good there with both marks. This party wall here, or this parapet wall here, is plumbed up and it's following the hallway line downstairs. If we are parallel up here, we should be pretty good downstairs. So I'm just going to slightly twist that and adjust it by a few mil here or there. And we got 183, 180. Just want to play around with that a tiny bit more. 181, 181. There we go. We're parallel off that wall. Double checking my marks. Everything's centered. And now I can just go around and screw it straight down into the trusses below. With that screwed off, that skylight should be held square right now. So I can get rid of this brace. And there you go, the upper side of that skylight's ready to go. By the time the roofers come through and put the battens on, they're 35mm. The roof sheets will sit directly on that, and your skylight will hook over this here. Obviously in the inside, we still got to frame that out and do the opening for the skylight, but we will be doing that one in the lock-up stage.